Greetings. We're going to talk about vaccines today. Medications. Shots. I've always been scared of shots. I think every person as a little kid is scared of shots. I had to take a whole bunch of shots back in 1963 when we were moving to Tokyo, Japan, because my dad got stationed over in Tokyo. And when we came back in 1966, I had to take a whole bunch more shots. I mean, you take a bunch of shots. Now, at that age, you have no idea what you're getting. You're just getting a bunch of shots. But during the time from 66 to 69, I got other shots. The only one I actually know about, or the only medication, wasn't even a shot, and that was for smallpox. And back then, they would give you a cube of sugar in school, and they would drop some kind of dot in it, and then you just ate a sugar cube. And that sounds really weird to today's kids because I guess they don't do that anymore. But it pretty much eradicated smallpox. And I didn't hear anybody complain about that until a couple of years ago when all of a sudden smallpox came back into the United States in one of the warm southern states. And there were people complaining saying, see, this is the government trying to poison us. I don't know where you got that from. You had the orange guy in office at the time. The last people he wanted to poison were the people who actually believed in him. But, that's where we've gotten into. We've gotten into this mania about vaccines and not wanting to take them when they are proven to work. And stick with me on that one for a while because I think that there's two things that definitely should be looked at. One is if a vaccine is proven to work, and one where you suddenly realize, maybe I should protect myself against that. So back in 1989, I took my first flu shot, and then I got sick for about 3.5 months, and I was working in a hospital, and no one else got the same thing I did, and they had no idea what kind of reaction. It wasn't bad enough to keep me from coming to work, but it was bad enough so that I didn't feel well. And then I took the same thing in 1990. And once again, I was sick this time for 4 months. And once again, no one understood why I was sick. But after that, I've never taken the flu shot again. And the thing about the flu shot is that it is not 100% effective. Actually, no shots are really 100% effective, but the thing about the flu shot is that it's actually broken up into 4 quadrants. Well, I guess that's what a quadrant is. It's 4, but the country is broken up into quadrants, and they try to guesstimate which variant of the flu you're going to get in your quadrant, and then you take your shot. But it's only 35% effective. So 35% is not really one of those kind of things where, at least where my numbers are concerned, it doesn't really sound like it does a heck of a lot. You're still at risk. And being an independent consultant, when I was traveling around the country, going to different places, whether it worked in New York or not didn't matter. If I was in, where did I go? I was somewhere in Nevada. My goodness, I can't remember. Somewhere in Nevada. I was in North Dakota. I was in Georgia. It doesn't solve any of that if you're leaving your area. And is flu dangerous? Yes. But I personally have always wanted something that was stronger. If it was 75% effective, I'd have probably taken that thing in a heartbeat and I just would have dealt with it. And we did go through a thing here in New York where my ex was worried that she was about to lose her job because back in, I think it was 2011, the shot was supposed to be mandatory for anybody who worked in hospitals. And she was really worried because she didn't want to take the shot. She'd had some issues with it back in the early period, of course. And 2 weeks before, she probably would have lost her job, of all things, New York State ran out of flu vaccine. So they ran out. So once they ran out, they had to order extra, and then they decided they were going to save that for pregnant women, and everyone in healthcare was spared having to deal with that shot. I mean, you know, that was kind of my thing against it. Now, what's interesting is that I've been against it, like I said, since 1990, but my mother always took the shot. And when mom had to move here back in 2017, she was still taking the shot, and I wanted her to take the shot because now I was going to send her to daycare. She was going to be around a whole lot of other people. And mom was in her late 70s. And it turns out that when you get close to 65, suddenly you're more vulnerable to getting the flu than you are when you're younger. And that's one of those things I'm now looking at because I'm getting closer to 65. I'm not quite there yet, but I'm kind of in the middle. And this might be the first year where I'll take a flu shot 32 years later. And it's not that I'm scared of the vaccine. I'm scared of what happened back in 1990 because at least back then I was working in a hospital. I was around a whole bunch of doctors, most of whom I actually liked. And I just felt like, okay, if something happens, I'm working in the right place to take care of this. I could be consulting somewhere now, or I could be stuck at home pretty much by myself. I don't know why I'm saying pretty much by myself and get sick, and there's no one around to help me. Maybe my next door neighbor would come over and make me some chicken soup. Yuck. But, I think that I have now reached that age where I have to look at different things and say, it's me having to look at protecting myself. You see the shirt I'm wearing. That's not anti-flu shot or, this is me saying I'm against people who didn't want to take the shot to protect us against corona or whatever we're calling it these days. I didn't want that to happen to either my mother or myself. Everything shut down. And then when they got this shot and they said at the time that the shot was 95% effective, you know what? That was good enough for me. I was wearing the masks. I was wearing long sleeves everywhere. I wore gloves for maybe 2 weeks and then I said, okay, that's a little excessive. I'm not doing that. There were videos showing people how to wash all their food, wash all their bags. And that might have been a little bit obsessive, but you know what? It was scary. We've had over 1 million people who have died from that. Anybody who looks at numbers that high and still says that it's fake, you're a moron. I'm just telling you right now. So, at this point, I have had both shots that I was supposed to get, and I've had 2 boosters, and there's a possibility of another booster coming up. And if that comes up, I'm going to get the booster. I'm going to be kind of, as protected as possible. Now, there's 2 other parts of this that I want to talk about. So back in, I think it was 1997. I think it was 97. It might have been 99, but I think it was 1997. David Letterman got sick. It turns out he got shingles. And he got shingles, which I guess develops in people who might have got chickenpox, even if they had the chickenpox shot, but he had gotten chickenpox and then he got shingles all these years later, and supposedly it was really painful. And at that time, I didn't have my shot records with me. My mother still had the shot records for, there it is. So I called mom and said, hey, did I ever have the chickenpox? She says, no, you never had chickenpox. You never had measles. You never had the mumps. I never had anything. But, we at least had something for the other 2, but there was nothing for chickenpox. But now that, at this point, the United States had developed a shot for chickenpox. I worked in a hospital. The emergency room was right behind me, so I went and talked to one of the doctors. I said, so what do you think I should do about this chickenpox thing? I've never had chickenpox. And they were kind of shocked. And he said, I think you need to get this just to protect yourself. You want to kind of protect yourself against what Letterman got. So for 3 weeks, I had to go in and get a shot for chickenpox. Now, as far as I know, I'm totally protected. And now this thing comes out where there's a shingles shot. And I had someone at one of the pharmacists say, maybe you should take the shingles shot. But this is one of those kind of things where I need to do my own research because that's the reason I took the chickenpox shots. I'm not against anything if it's going to help to protect me, but I want to have a reason for it. When it came to this, there was no doubt I was getting that shot today as soon as I could, and that I was giving it to Mom as soon as I could, because, you know, this thing was a proven killer. It was proven to be fast. Now we're up to Omicron 5A, 5B, I'm not really sure which one, but I'm as vaccinated as I can be until they come out with something else. And they said it spreads a little faster, but it's not deadly like it used to be. I mean, I guess somewhere around 5,000 people might have passed away from it, 4,000 or 5,000, which are some of the estimates that they used to give for the flu shot, you know, people who got the flu. But it's nothing close to 1 million. And overall, people are able to weather the storm. President Biden got one of these. I don't know which one he got, but he got it, came out of it, and then a couple of days later got it again. You know, he's an older guy, and he had gone overseas. I don't know, you know, if he caught something overseas or if he had something here before he went, but, you know, they usually test that before you leave the country. So my thought is that anything you can do to protect yourself, anything you can do to protect your family, anything you can do to protect anybody that you might come in contact with, don't be anti-vax. Take the shot. Protect yourself, protect your community. I'm lucky to live in a community where 89% of the people who live in my community took the shot. I don't know. I just think it's the right thing to do. But I put it out to y'all. What do you think? If you're scared about something, that's one thing. However, I'm not going to entertain any of the false narratives that some people might have. So if you say something like that, if you say some other pejoratives that are used in describing the shot, your comment will be removed. So be respectful. Be as logical as you can if you disagree, or even if you agree. My name's Mitch Mitchell. Y'all take care.